Welcome to the Warley Model Railway Club virtual event featuring club life, the exhibition and the exhibitors. We hope you enjoy this presentation.
Welcome to Warley Road, an O-gauge layout built by members of Warley Model Railway Club. My name is Paul Jones and I've been involved with this project since its inception. The layout was planned way back in the mid-1990s as a successor to our layout Broome Junction. As the club members were unable to agree a track plan, we asked Barry Norman, a good friend of our club, to come up with a possible scheme given the quite restricted space available in our old club room. This was a space of 22 feet by 17 feet or thereabouts. He devised a plan based on Warley Road on the Gloucester to Bristol route. Warley Road had a branch that went off to West Gloucestershire over the Severn Bridge via Sharpness. This gave the opportunity for club members to run both LMS and GWR rolling stock, which reflected the majority of members' interests at the time. This video features scenes of the layout at quite an advanced stage of construction. The train you are seeing now is an 8F hauling a long train of coal wagons from the Forest of Dean coalfields. The main station at Warley Road is largely following the track plan of Warley Road, with some small modifications to create Warley Road. The branch to Sharpness can be seen at the high level at this point, with some interesting formations in the track plan. The buildings were built by Peter Smith of Kirtley Models and Alan Searle. Peter was responsible for the station buildings and the goods shed, while Alan was responsible for the large factory unit and most of the other buildings. The Great Western Railway platform was built by myself, being based on the typical branch sleeper-built platform. The rolling stock running on the layout is all the work of club members. In the early days, before the widespread availability of ready-to-run items, the stock was predominantly kit or scratch built. With an increasing amount of ready-to-run stock being available, we see more of this running on the layout, although most members personalise their models in some way by weathering, etc. All stock usually has a crew, headlamps, tail lamps, and also a properly coaled bunker or tender. The layout has featured in the Railway Modeller. The first article was way back in October 1999, and there were several more articles around that time over the next couple of years. An update article appears in the December 2020 Railway Modeller. The reason for the long hiatus between those articles is that the layout has had something of a checkered history in the intervening period. The club was engaged by Virgin Trains to build them a layout to use at the various exhibitions that they attended. The only space available in our then club rooms was that occupied by Warley Road. It was therefore dismantled and was stored for a couple of years. We then had a move to our new clubroom premises, and during the transport of the boards, some damage was noted, such that when the baseboards were erected in its intended location, it was not possible to mate all the boards up correctly and properly. Consequently, the decision was made that rather than be an exhibition layout, this layout would be a permanent layout in the clubroom. One advantage of this is that the only opportunity to see the layout in the flesh is for visitors to attend our regular open days, usually in February and July each year. The track work is predominantly Pico, with some scratch-built, hand-built point work. There were originally more hand-built points on the layout, but with a variety of wheel standards being in use by members on their stock, we found this led to running problems, so the majority of the point work has now been replaced with Pico track work. This seems to run well with all wheel standards, even though it may not be quite as accurate to scale as the hand-built track that it's replaced. The storage sidings were originally laid with markway point work, but again we experienced the same problems, probably not helped by the fact that the entry and exit point work is on a gradient as the running lines leave the storage sidings into the scenic area. This track work has now also been replaced with Pico point work. The layout runs on DCC exclusively using the Digitrax system. When originally built, the layout was DC, but with members moving almost exclusively to DCC, we made the decision to convert the layout to that form of operation. This, of course, gives a lot of flexibility in the operational sequences of the layout. Points are controlled by Circuitron motors, and these have proved reliable and effective. We are fortunate to have deep baseboards, so there is plenty of room for the motors. The signal box was again built by Peter Smith and is a typical Midland box. This controls the junction for the branch. Opposite the box is the entry to the goods yard and the coal sidings stroke wagon repair facility, this being one corner of the layout that has not yet been completely developed. The sequences of stock you are seeing at the moment is our mid-1930s period. We also run the BR transition period, late steam, early diesel, and also have a blue diesel sequence of the 70s, early 80s. With the layout presented as it is, these periods can all be run with little conflict as to signals, etc. Train lengths can actually be quite extensive. We can run 30 wagon freight trains and 6/7 passenger coaches, which gives a good viewing perspective. The layout is a looped figure of 8, so the actual viewing section, being the scenic section, is quite lengthy and can accommodate trains of these lengths. Many of the trains are of this length, although, as you will have seen from the video, we also run a lot of shorter trains in accordance with prototype practice. Signalling has not yet been completed, and we have not yet completed point rodding, etc. The signals are being put together for us by our member David Edwards, who builds exquisite signals, and the ones he has built for the layout so far are really superb. Some of them are in place on a non-working basis, but the intention is that over time these will be made to be fully working and operational and controlled from the panel. There are 2 control panels, one behind the factory controlling the scenic section, and also a panel for the goods yard on the outside of the layout. The storage sidings are also controlled from inside the layout on the inside panel. We have control points at both ends of the goods yard so that an outside operator can look after the shunting movements, etc. At open days, this is very useful and gives an opportunity for an operator to have a good chat with visitors to the open day viewing the layout. Scenery has been constructed over a period of time. Originally, we used the former and chicken wire covered with plaster impregnated bandage, but some of this has been upgraded and replaced with polystyrene blocks beneath the scenic finishes. The advantage of this is that trees, etc., can be planted and kept rigidly in place without fear of them being knocked and damaged. With a club layout, this is quite useful. Trees come from a variety of sources. Some are homemade, some are proprietary models, all of a suitable size. Little use has been made of static grass on this layout, as most of the scenery was put in place before this became widely available. However, use is made of good quality grass mats, together with plumber's pipe wrapping material and the usual range of scenic finishes from the likes of woodland scenics and green scenes. There are quite a few yards of Pico line-side fencing also to be found around the layout. Some of the tracks are hidden from view So there are a couple of lift-out sections in the scenic sections to enable access to these tracks. This is important for the regular cleaning that is required. On one of these sections, a tree stump has been firmly fixed into the middle of the field, which enables pulling out of the lift-out section extremely easy. A useful ploy, which I'm sure will be used elsewhere in the future. Good use has been made throughout of O-gauge accessories available from a large number of sources, including Andy Duncan for the working platform lamps and the seating and some animals that appear on the layout. The GWR wooden post and wire fencing has been constructed from individual components made in a jig. We do move on to a more modern era, as I mentioned earlier, running blue diesels and appropriate rolling stock. This does reflect the members' interests. It has to be said that we find that the proprietary diesels now being manufactured extremely good haulers, and they do run well on the layout. With sound decoders fitted, with several of them running on the layout, this can prove to be quite a noisy experience, but nonetheless very effective. Again, the rolling stock being hauled by these period trains, more modern period trains, is a combination of kit built and proprietary. Again, in recent times, more ready to run appears, but we have also plenty of examples of kit built items. Again, many of the ready to run items are weathered, fitted with loads, etc., appropriate to the item and the period being modelled. Again, a lot of the stock is weathered, most of it with reference to photographs. The diesel period often is popular at our open days with what might be called the younger visitors, that is, anybody under 40. We normally run a steam sequence at our February open day and a diesel sequence at our July open day. Quite a lot of work still needs to be done on the railway, and no doubt it will take a couple of years for this to be completed. There is no time frame for completion of this work, as there are no exhibition deadlines. And to work on the layout as and when other projects permit, at least enables some changes to be seen by visitors to our open days. The layout has created a lot of enjoyment for the members of the Warley O-gauge group and a lot of satisfaction. I'm also sure it will continue to do so for quite a few years to come. Hopefully you have enjoyed viewing this video, which just does show some of the variety of members' stock and interests and the layout at its current stage of development to good effect. It is a large layout, and with some of the scenic areas being 4 feet from front to back, sometimes reaching items can be a little tricky. Oh, by the way, it also takes several hours to clean the track, which has to be done before each open day to ensure good running. Thank you for watching, and perhaps we'll see you at one of our open days in the future. Keep an eye on our website and the Model Railway Press for details of these events. You will be most welcome.
Thank you for watching this Warley virtual event presentation. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe. We hope to see you when we are back at the NEC on the 27th and 28th of November 2021.